See?
And we're live. So I'm sitting here with Jim James, who is one of the leaders of the Redlands Water Bottle Transit Company Century Training Program. And we're just going to chat a little bit about the program and your experiences and what it's all about. So,
okay, well, I guess my experiences started training for the 2012 Palm Springs Century. That was going to be my first century. Mm-hmm. And I had it in my mind that I needed to get up to 65 miles. I was only doing like 40 and 50 miles as my long ride, so I figured, well, I could do part of this training and I'd at least probably get up to 65 miles. And lo and behold, by the time we got a lot of ways to the training, we were riding 65 miles. So all of a sudden I decided maybe I could actually do the full century. That was probably 8 weeks into this 10-week program. And sure enough, we finished the program and then we did the training, or we did the actual century and got through it just fine, was ready to do even more miles after the end. So the program works, it's a success. All you have to do is commit yourself to doing the 10-week program plus the little homework where you have to do some riding during the middle of the week, and you can suddenly take yourself from a 30 to 50 mile rider up to a full century rider. Just magic.
Indeed, indeed. And so now that's been 10 years since...
Coming up to 11 years, yeah.
Yeah, so how has that impacted you, and have you been riding other centuries, or?
Well, once I did that one, and anybody who does this, and anybody who's actually ridden a century, but those of you who have not ridden centuries, once you condition yourself to ride one, you then kind of have at least I did, the attitude or the goal of stay century ready. So I wanted to keep that level of fitness up, so I tried to do that by just riding during the week and every now and then throwing in a metric century so that I could be what I thought was century ready, and that's kind of where I've been for the last 10-12 years. And yes, I've done several centuries. I don't know, not a lot, somewhere between 35 and 40, but you know, that's not a lot compared to what a lot of people do.
I think that's admirable.
And I've learned how to ride centuries, and there's been about 3 times I learned how not to ride centuries. So it's, you know, a lot of things I tell people who have never done them before. I says, really the only difference between a 30-mile ride and a 100-mile ride, you must eat, drink, and keep your electrolytes up during the 100-mile ride. You can get through a 30-mile ride almost without doing any eating or drinking, but beyond that, if you don't eat or drink, you're going to get in trouble, so one way or another. So I've had 2 or 3 where I've cramped up and not done it correctly, but most of them I've done well, whatever. So, and then since then, I've been fortunate and honored to be able to actually assist for the training, which was really a whole lot of fun and very rewarding when you see new people coming and doing their first centuries and see how they train to get from a 30-40 mile maximums up to the century, and watch their faces when they see their odometer turn to 100. It's just really rewarding to see that. And it's, you know, it's still what I like to do when I ride a century. I like to see the odometer turn to 100. 99.9 just is not quite good enough. You got to see it turn to 100. So that's kind of what the first century did for me, and it's kind of what I still try to do.
So explain your role as the pace setter and what expectations a new rider would have. What does that mean, and how do you set a pace?
Well, I guess first off, the program is very well organized. Diana and Andrew have organized this program to where every week you get blogs or messages about how to train for the century and how to, you know, things to expect. So when we're out riding the century, there's Andrew and Diana who keep the group together and watch everybody and help them along. My participation in this is to be in the front to help us not get lost, hopefully. Sometimes that doesn't always work real well, but we try not to get lost.
Yes, we do.
And then try to set a pace where everybody kind of keeps the group together. That's really my goal, is to do that. Try to be equal in effort That means when you go uphill, you go a little slower. When you go downhill, you go a little faster. But try to find the pace that keeps the group together. So they learn how to ride in a group. They learn how to be pace lining in a group. And it's really very interesting because we start off, the program is like 11 weeks total, 10 weeks of training plus the Century. So we start off around 30 miles. And then in week number 9, we're up to about 70 miles. We drop back down in week 11, a little bit of taper off. But the pace of the group goes from as little as 12 miles an hour on that 30-mile ride up to 17 miles an hour perhaps in the 70-mile ride. And no one knows, no one actually understands or feels that they worked any harder in that 70-mile ride than they did in the 30. It's just kind of interesting how everybody goes along and just kind of becomes more fit, if you will, more Century ready every week. And everything just kind of grows.
So what advice would you give someone who maybe is sitting on the fence right now and has kind of those questions of, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I have the right bike, I might be older, many of us are older when we ride our first Century. What would you share with them?
Well, as far as being older, I am old. I'm to the point where getting older is a good thing. So
it is.
I rode my first Century when I was 65. So don't worry about being old. It's a good thing. Like I said, I started the training to get myself over the 50 and 60 mile mark. So, just know that you're going to increase your fitness level. You know that you're going to have lots of people help you with your bicycle. Yes, there is bike fitting, but there's lots of information that comes to you every week that tells you about bike fitting, tells you about the different things you can do, tells you how to eat, how to drink. Those things are included in the program that you will learn. So you don't need to be apprehensive about having to know everything, because you don't need to know basically anything other than how to ride a 30-mile ride right now. If you are capable of riding a 30-mile ride, 35-mile ride, then you're very capable of joining this group and ending up riding your first Century in about 12 weeks.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to have another year of training with you, and I couldn't agree more. The magic of watching a new Century participant come across that line, and the smile and how I have seen that change so many people's lives, that what was not possible at one point suddenly becomes possible. So thank you so much. Yeah. Anything else you want to share?
Just come out and have a good time. It's a great time. It's a great 11 weeks, including the Century. You make a lot of friends, and actually when the Century's done, you wonder, what do I do next? And you kind of keep those friends and you keep riding. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.